Today's Ask Me Anything goes out to Sellers, who says, love your videos. They've helped me so much train my puppy. I have an 11-week-old German Shepherd. Do you have any tips for building confidence in my puppy? In our backyard. In our backyard, I've been working with him with a long lead, watching your videos, and he walks very good and confident. But once we leave the house, he gets scared. Takes 2 steps, then sits or whines. Sometimes he backs up with his head down, whining. He's been introduced to many different locations, so I don't understand why he's afraid of leaving the house. When we go to parks, he's still extremely shy, but it's not as bad as when we're trying to walk him in the neighborhood. Also, our neighbors have a poodle who jumps on our fence, barking and frequently scares my puppy. Will this cause issues? Yes. How would I prevent that? Stop the poodle from jumping or just go to the other side of the street. Besides being shy and scared, he has his basic obedience down. Sit down, stay, drop it, and we're looking and working on calm. So excellent work, right? Fantastic. You're doing fantastic. So the confidence of getting him out of the house is going to be built by doing exactly that, getting him out of the house, right? The more he feels that going out is a good thing, positive things happen, take tons of treats with you, be very excited, be up, be focused on him, don't be texting on your phone and talking to your friends. Make it an engagement to him, make it part of the experience that going out with you is a good thing. It's a time when you bond, it's a time when you guys hang out together, it's a time when you walk, and he has a really great time. I would really encourage by doing it by taking his treats with him. More than likely he likes food, so bring him along, good boy, and everything is an excitement. Everything is a new experience. The reason he's probably not too excited to leave the house is because it's just strange to him. And it's probably not that he's afraid or shy, it's that it's just a new thing for him and that he hasn't really experienced that much. So I hope I'm getting to this video in time, this question in time, because I get lost way behind in a lot of these Ask Me Anything questions. But the more experience you get him outside of the house, the more you get him to focus, the more he can do his sits and downs and stays and all that on your walk. Take the training now from the backyard into the street, into the park or wherever. But the movement of going outside should be a very energetic, very positive, very focused thing. And I think you'll see a lot of change in the dog in that behavior. Make sure it's fun. Make sure you're having fun, right? Make sure it's not just some kind of an arduous task that I gotta take the dog for a walk. Make it fun, make it engagement, keep it short also, maybe make just like 10, 15 minutes before, so it's not dragging out. And I think you'll see a big difference. Keep me posted on how that works out for you. Excuse me, Mr. Robert, or people on the comment section. It's just me here. Just me. May I ask an honest question? Yes. If I'm going to buy a puppy like a German Shepherd puppy, how old should the puppy be? Like, I'm afraid I might buy a puppy which is no longer easy to train. Easy to train. Well, so most puppies are sold at 8 weeks. That seems to be the most common time, 8 to 9 weeks, because what happens is the dog, if the dog is sold too early, a lot of professional trainers will like to buy a puppy really early so the dog doesn't have too many habits with other dogs. If you're going to get a pet dog, it's probably better to wait to that 9-week window because the dog will learn some more bite inhibition from the other puppies and from the mom and from the people who are raising him, the breeders or the people who are raising him. That's really important. You can buy, if the people who are raising him are doing a really good job with him, you can wait till as long as, several months old. The dog might have some habits already, some training already that will really help you live a much better life with the dog. That's a really good thing to think about. I wouldn't think about the dog being too old. As long as the dog is not just kenneled and neglected and not given any socialization, then I think you're fine most any time you buy the dog. But getting the dog too early, first of all, if it's just a pet, before 8 weeks, I wouldn't do it. I would make sure at least past 8, 9, 10 weeks so that the dog has some basic social skills. I have a 7-month-old Malinois German Shepherd mix. How much running is safe for him? So what we really want to look at when we look at running or exercise for younger dogs is not, in what capacity it's safe for him. It's really structurally, is it safe for the dog? So when the dog's growth plates are not closed yet, and the easy way to look at this is that a smaller dog, usually 6 to 9 months or so. Medium dogs, a year to 18 months, or maybe less than 18 months, and a large dog, 18 months is what they're looking at for growth plates to be closed so that you can't harm the dog's structure in running them too much. Running on concrete surfaces is not good. Even for a young dog, that's not good. Jumping, even for a young dog, is not, even on grass, is not good. But all in all, you know, I try to say that the dog should be about a year or so before you're doing too much running. And any exercise you're going to do with the dog, keep him on a softer surface. Let the dog kind of keep his feet on the ground. If you're going to teach the dog jumping and stuff like that, you can teach it to walk over small jumps and do very, very slight amounts of jumping, very, very low jumps. Just the idea of jumping, the aspect of jumping that you're trying to teach can be taught very, very low. I really get angry when people take young dogs and do crazy agility stuff with them, crazy protection stuff with them, crazy sports, running, even too much hiking and stuff like that. I just don't think it's that good for the younger dog. Give the dog a chance to mature and you'll have a great dog. Love your videos. Thank you for sharing your experience and knowledge with all of us. My pleasure. My question, while playing, my 4-month-old German Shepherd puppy gets too excited and does not obey me. So, couple things here. One is a 4-month-old puppy is not going to obey you because he doesn't know how to obey you yet. He probably hasn't learned to obey you yet. So if the dog listens when he's really calm and then he gets excited and he can't listen, it's because he hasn't been proofed through distractions and through energy. So even the best trained dogs, when their prey drive, which is what we call that, their prey drive gets kicked into high gear, they're less likely to listen because their drives are going and they're in a frantic mode. So when the dog is playing, and this is any age dog, or running, or chasing, or fighting, or biting, or attacking, or whatever they're doing, it's less likely that they're going to listen to your commands than if they're just laying down next to me like Goofy and Maya are now. The movement in the dog and the energy, excitement keeps the dog from being able to focus back what you want, because that's going to be something you're going to train in later. With all that being said, none of this relates to you because your dog is a 4-month-old puppy. So let the dog get excited, let the dog have fun, teach the dog in low stimulation settings what you want, the sit, the down, the come, the stay, the leave it, whatever those commands are, and get the dog to understand that there's an immense reward for them. As the dog gets older, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, start to add in distractions, start to add in, things like balls rolling by, other dogs around, whatever that might be, and then start to demand more obedience and correct for disobedience, but not at 4 months old. It's way too early, and it's not something that you want to think about at this time, but it's a very good question. Hi, Robert, could you please, spell it with 3 E's, so it's please, help with this question before I get my pup in the next few weeks? Well, I certainly hope I got to this before you got your pup, because sometimes I don't get to these questions that quickly. In your video, you talk about getting them socialized from 8 to 16 weeks old. I actually talk about getting them socialized earlier than that, right? It's a lot of socialization, stuff like that starts early on, like a 5-week window when other people should be handling the pups. But anyway, I will be in a remote area and will have to take the pup in the car to socialize. My previous shepherd was petrified of the car until he was about 4 months old. What's the best way to get an 8-week-old pup accustomed to going for trips in the car so I can socialize him sufficiently? Thanks for your invaluable help. Well, that's my pleasure. Thank you. I'll give you a great story. When I first got Goofy, I don't think he'd ever been in a car. Maybe he was in a car. Maybe it was in Tasha's car. I don't know. But when I put him in the car, I rented a car. I flew up to get him. I rented a car, and I drove to Tasha's house to pick him up. And when I put him in the car and I drove away, he started screaming. And he just screamed and carried on and screamed and carried on. It was in the back of a little SUV, and I had newspapers down. And he screamed and screamed and screamed. And I thought I could go up back there and just rattle his cage, but I thought that wouldn't help. And I was right. So what I did is I kept driving and driving and driving, and I drove past the airport. I kept driving and driving and driving for about an hour and a half. And he finally stopped. And when he stopped, I pulled over and I opened the back of the car, and lo and behold, he was still alive. And he was just conked out from crying so much. I put a collar on him, his leash on him, took him outside, took him for a little walk, and everything was perfect. So the way to get your dog used to a car is to just take him, put him in a car, put him in a crate if you can, obviously, and just go. And do not stop the car if the dog is acting up, because if the dog sees I act up and I get out, that's a bad behavior. It's a bad precedent for your dog to understand. For example, Maya is terrible in the car. Maya whines and carries on and barks when people come near the car because I don't know what her history was. I got her when she was 3 years old, and she's a lovely, lovely dog, but she has horrible car manners, right? She whines and whines and whines or barks and carries on. So And again, I don't let her get out when she acts like a nincompoop, and she's going to be 10 years old this year. So you need to hunker down, you need to be very strong, you need to just let the dog just do it, right? There doesn't have to be anything you can make it, by trying to overthink it, I think you'll make it worse. I would put the dog in the car and I would drive. Be very careful where you take a young puppy to socialize them, because on organic matter, such as like dirt and grass and plants and sand and things like that, parvo and distemper can live in there for a long time. So if the puppy doesn't have the vaccinations, be sure to carry him over those kind of substances and get them onto concrete or asphalt or or hardwood floors or something like that. Be real careful with the puppy until they've had all their shots, so you don't end up hurting your dog. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots of updates, lots of great dog training videos, and check out my members only area at robertcabral.com for dog training videos, podcasts, and more that you won't see anywhere else.